teams who are able to adapt their map pool to adjust to the current times. And this is really, really good to see. I'm just hoping for sAw it's a well thought out plan and it works. And if it does work in their favor, I mean, they're going to come off as absolute geniuses, to say the absolute least. If it doesn't, that's when we start asking questions of, was it worth the gamble when they had a very, very set pool? They could have gone, either way though, Trev, we already get the show on the road. Fourth on the PT side, sAw on the T side, up number 1. Who's going to Pro League?
Let's find out. And honestly, I'm going to say, while it may be a shock to some people to see sAw pick into Anubis, it doesn't shock me because they are one of the teams, especially at ECL level, who were so happy to pick into Ancient. You mentioned the team sort of taking advantage of that early on. They were very happy to grind Ancient at the early stages. And let's going to see if they can take advantage of Anubis as well. At the moment, it's Krags back and forth on this pistol round, and forZe, of course, still technically the stand-in for forZe. And with the help of Jerry getting, in the end, just the last kill, we'll get the pistol round sorted. forZe with 3. And we mentioned this yesterday, Neo, the fact that forZe playing with forZe is a pick that I would choose to be their 5th. If they continue
100%.
to play with him, I really think this team is terrifying to play.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I really do love forZe as a player. And funnily enough as well, yesterday, when we weren't sure if it was going to be forZe or a resold coming in towards the team, forZe started off yesterday's best of 3 with a 3k in the pistol. So exactly a mirror of what we saw in yesterday's proceedings. And of course, that netted them a place here in the upper bracket. So good start for them. 3 kills for forZe allows him to pick up an M4A4, M4A1Ss along the board, and 9 and Famas to pad it out. But ewjerkz can take some early bit of contact. Crowd will find the first, looking for more as well, roaming in for the quick trade, but bomb still dropped in a precarious spot.
Yeah, that's not the best place to drop it, especially when you don't have a player or a teammate as close as maybe you would have wanted it to. Split the site though, that's a long range play for Jerry. He's more work to be done here, and he does get 2. That's obviously really good considering the situation. And now forZe needs to figure out where Story's coming from. Now he realizes that the communications have come through, but Story does have the bomb on his back, so he can escape to the opposite side of the map right now. And I think forZe does realize that, so he's going to be knife out to try and get there as quickly as possible. Story, Tech 9 and Mac 10. Now he'll be on this quick flank. Plenty of bullets in the clip, has a flashbang to work with, but of course no defuse kit. So he's going to have to find Story relatively quickly, and that means he's going to take the decision to run and make the sound. He doesn't expect Story in the corner. Oh, he does flick for it, but the Mac 10 wins the duel just about, and sAw hit back instantly.
That's what we love to see. I always kind of say as well, I think while pistols used to be in the old economy and old meta really important, I don't actually think they're very important anymore. At times, I think a lot of people even lean into the favor of them being pure RNG, which I personally don't, I'm not on that bandwagon, but I don't think they're as important. I think the force buy is actually what matters most. And the standard meta nowadays is just to force buy into that second round and play off the back of very similar buys, win or lose, basically, right? And that's whoever wins that is able to really set the precedent in terms of economy going forward, and that's what we're seeing. Look over towards forZe. Now already got nothing to work with. Pistols, 1 MP9, and already not looking too good. Story will set things up nicely. Zorta to fall, and Shalfish getting out dodge.
With the correct decision. Of course, the force buyback was commencing early on, back and forth. See the way it goes. And the timeline of sAw has always been a very interesting one, right? I mean, sAw removed Arky from the starting lineup back in the day for Story and put Stododo on a rifle. They realised this didn't work, so brought Arky back again. And then Story left, of course, for FTW. FTW had that insane conference run that we all talk about, and that they made Pro League themselves. And now sAw were like, okay, well, you guys seem to be the best players. We're going to get you back and bring ewjerkz as well. Up and down enter last year, but ended strong. And now look, they have a chance to make Pro League as sAw for the very first time. We have been sent some tweets from our fellow talent members. forZe actually have been in Pro League once before, all the way back in Season 11, but that was not with a full 3-man core. That was only with Jerry and Zorta. This is a completely different lineup, but for those two. So the organisation's been there before, but not necessarily the core of the team.
And if I'm right in saying they actually didn't even qualify, they actually replaced Renegades. So it was not exactly, they weren't the first choice. It's not exactly like not saying they were undeserved for the position, but they didn't earn it, right? They got it because Renegades couldn't make it. If I'm right in saying something along those lines, I'm not exactly sure the reasons why, but I do remember something along those sort of lines specifically. But we were saying making history, but we mean as a core, as a five, that's what we mean, because the core of forZe haven't been to Pro League. Only two of that old remaining five from season 11. But so far, not exactly a dream start for them. sAw will take a lead 2-1. I mean, sort of expected in that sort of round where forZe are only bringing in the Deagles at one MP9, and thankfully they have the MP9 ticked over into the next. But still, the priority in these sort of rounds is just keeping that economy in check and keeping it in tow. So not too much of an investment coming through, just a couple of pistols to work with. That one MP9 still in play, and on paper, this should be sAw just netting themselves a third relatively comfortably.
Indeed. Always enjoy sort of going through, as I said in that previous round, just going through that sAw timeline, because it is a weird one, right? I mean, to be fair to them, sAw realised they made the mistake, taking Story a bit too early in his career when he was very young. He wasn't settled on the AWP, didn't have much success, and they realised that they needed to keep Arky for a bit and put snodo back on the sniper. And then, of course, since then, FTW had that insane run, which of course you have an FTW jersey to commemorate that insane run that they made through Conference to
Still need to put it up. Still need to put it up. On the to-do list before the last couple of days.
It'll make the background look particularly nice. This is a good couple of kills actually from forZe in this round. This round's not sorted yet. The bomb's not planted either, so with Jerry having the AK with the Kevlar, there's a chance they can do something with this. There's no need to save. They can absolutely go for this one because they're buying next round anyway. Crad and Chelsea are very squishy, and they should go down to 2. And there we go. There's one. There's two. Quick trade, but in come the rifles. Now it's all down to Jerry. 1 versus 1. He's looking for Just. He's behind the angle, behind the wall, on the entrance toward the site. And he is looking in the correct direction, but he might have to switch to the other side pretty quickly to figure it out, and he doesn't do so. In the end, it's a free AK upgrade for Just, and even though they lost the round, forZe will be quite happy with that damage.
Gotta say, that got closer than it should have been. When you're looking at that buy on paper for forZe, or, I mean, for better word, the lack thereof, right? You're thinking, okay, this should be very easily chalked up over towards sAw, but no, they had to fight for that one. And credit to forZe even making it competitive when it realistically shouldn't have been from what we were seeing coming into round number 4. So at least keeping that T-side economy in check to some regard, but it still does mean that Story has the ability to pick himself up into an AWP and a quad AK in support as well. Now, Trav, what we saw yesterday, this map seemed very T-sided.
Yes, and I think it's the common consensus amongst everyone in the scene that at the moment, the early stages of this map do seem to be T-sided. It was the same as verZe actually. Putting a lot of pressure into the A-bomb site, and Roman will find forZe trying to play with that smoke. So, first 2 picks coming through. MUTiRiS got his 2, so I'm going to say 4-4. And this might be another thing, right? We have no idea how much work that these two teams have put into the map, but you can safely assume that one, forZe have played it and tried it, but sAw, knowing how they've done this sort of work with maps like Ancient in the past, they were one of the first teams to ever pick it, I believe, on HLTV when Ancient came out. And they're one of the first teams to pick Anubis as well. So they put into the work into these new maps. And at the moment, in the early stages, it's paying off.
Do you know, the one thing I've always really loved about sAw is that I think I could probably pretty safely say that amongst the majority of kind of the tier 2 and anything lower, right, I would say sAw are one of the hardest working sides, I mean, out there. They have really put a shift in. They're always grafting, and they're always doing really well as well, because you can see just that hard work is paying off in dividends. And season 43 champions of ECL is probably the best example of it. They really did some stellar work. They took down forZe, they beat Spirit in that grand final as well in the best of 5, and it was relatively one-sided too. I mean, sAw are just an exemplary, a perfect example essentially of how hard work really does pay off for sides. And while they may not have the superstar that a lot of people look on the names like the likes of your Sorters or your Shelfies, they always manage to find success. And speaking of, ewjerkz will drop Jerry IGL down and out for the count.
Again, just one of these half buys coming in for forZe with the saved guns. A couple of pistols to surround it, and maybe to go in too deep so early on with the economy. It's the correct decision, but at the moment sAw are doing a good job of keeping their players alive and not losing too many bodies. Of course, the damage that forZe did in that round where they managed to get at least a couple, and then Jerry was in that 1v1. That's the only one they've really had any progress in so far, if we exclude the pistol. Been clean by rounds, the ones that sAw have put into the action. Of course, when we saw this map yesterday, it was the first for both of us, and first for the year, I believe, on ESL, so
yes,
nice to get a second as well.
More Neo and Trav history, right? We love to see it. We love to see it. We're
grind the map.
We're blazing, yeah. We're blazing a path there, Trav. Realistically speaking, and so sAw apparently bomb going down, looking like a fifth on the board as well. This is a fantastic start to their T side, and you know ourselves, maybe others question the picking towards Anubis, but hey, it's looking pretty damn good so far.
It is indeed, and obviously yesterday, what I was really impressed with when we watched Eternal Fire versus Partizan. Partizan in general played a pretty good series, but Eternal Fire, the way they came back on the T side of this map, we're saying this map is T-sided for good reason, because we're seeing that for the last few days and in the early stages of the that being played last year, like the Blast World Final, for example. But in general, Eternal Fire's executes were really, really good, and they kept locking Partizan out of any chance of retaking. The flashes were really well timed, and gave so many instances where Partizan didn't even have a chance to shoot back, really. It'd be interesting to see if sAw put any of that into the action again today. That was a good end to that round as well, by the way, Neo. I mean, they removed the saved guns, so extra money not being allowed.
I mean, you could probably say kind of as perfect as it gets, right? They're not only winning the round, but on top of that, they're making sure that forZe are always going to be kind of constantly concerned about their economy, you know, in a more long-term scope. So overall, a lot of real positives to be taken away here. The Portuguese side are starting to look dominant right now, and hence why they're basically seen as the premier org in the Iberian region at the moment. A lot of people would look towards the Movistar Riders, right? But I would probably even hazard the other way now that sAw are the team to beat coming out of Iberia as a whole, and for those you know, Iberia, Spain and Portugal. So, you know, generally speaking, they're showing why they are considered one of the best rising through the tiers, right? And probably should make that step up, even if they were to fall flat here in this series. They're a team that I would still think have the ability to make a lower bracket run.
I would agree. And, yeah, Movistar unfortunately never really been the same since they lost Sunpius, that glorious summer run that they had, which obviously we covered quite a lot of. forZe stepping up in this one. Zorta's got his AWP up and running, and the bomb is dropped in the middle of the V-bomb site, so there should be no risk here for forZe in this round. sAw will want to do some damage at least, but forZe have everything covered. Jerry on the AUG. Selection of M4s, of course. A1Ss and A4s. So we're seeing a bit of a split between the two. I think yesterday overall we saw more A4s than A1Ss, but in general it's still pretty close between the two. Seeing probably the most even choice it's been between players ever.
I agree. I think, you know, in the past, it's been very sort of one-sided, an either-or kind of thing. You know, obviously, the A1S meta in the latter stage of 2022, I mean, we basically never saw the A4 ever. Now it's very even, and of course, in this instance, working quite well. A flawless round for forZe, put up a second on the board, and for sAw, first time we've really seen them have a hiccup aside from the pistol round. And they were tested and overcame in that one, and only able to save that AWP. But that is the main thing. The fact they're able to keep the AWP in play is the real positive.
Indeed. Of course, still built up after those early victories, so it's no problem. But of course, the fact they didn't really go for anything in that round means that forZe have a whole buy in arrears almost of their players. Sort of pulled into the AWP. So I need all their players live. Maybe a bit of a chuckle pace here. Jelly going for the duel with the AWP. He needs to scope in for these kills, and he spots the second player trying to trade as well. Of course, that needs to be very wary of the underpass, so he hides behind the pillar. Waiting for that smoke if anyone pushes through it. Brad's already taken a tag down to 9 HP on his early foray. There's the forZe. They're all decided the map right now, and they might have to keep that because Jerry's been taken down. Shelfie's in the corner and Crad's still low, so it might really be down to Shelfie in this scenario. This will take Zorta, and he's been spotted just. But now, of course, they know where Shelfie is as well. sAw have grinded out a man advantage from the early loss of MUTiRiS. Away at Shelby, goes the long wing spray and just continues to shoulder peek over and over. And it's those sort of duels that are so frustrating to try and win as a CT, right?
No, exactly. And of course for Crad, this is a frustrating position for him to be in. Playing exits is going to be brutal here. I very much doubt he keeps that AK in tow. Surely, in some way, this will get dropped off. He's not even going to tap it because what's the point? Can he get out of dodge? And actually finds a slight gap, but he is being hunted. They're looking for him. There's a wrap coming through as well. You can kind of see Justin Roman. One of them will find him. And it'll be just to see him off. No one surviving for forZe as sAw continue their dominant display on T side. Extend the lead once again to 4 rounds. I mean, this is a real comfortable gap that they're starting to build up. And you look over towards forZe in terms of how do they break this deadlock? How do they break this cycle? And I've got to say, it's quite tough, right? I don't even know what is the point of call. Because on this CT side, I don't really think that they're overextending. They're not getting over-aggressive and losing man advantages. They're just not winning aim duels. And the fact that they're always playing on a man disadvantage quite early into the round because they're struggling to lock out sights, it's given sAw this as free path to post bonds without anything. And speaking about losing man advantage early, ewjerkz will find the first.
Yeah, and that, I mean, I'm not really entirely sure what Shelfie's attempt was there. I mean, he was trying to play through the mid door. Of course, the way mid is, it's a very hard place to fight as a CT because you think you need 2 players there. Obviously, the meta is going to evolve, and then we'll know exactly how many players is the norm of particular positions on the map. You kind of always need a player here, I feel, where Jerry is right now in the underpass. forZe does get one more, and after these early 2 picks from sAw, forZe did a really good job in recovering it, but ewjerkz has found another, and he is often the man that can bring some star factor to this sAw roster. Zorta on the line, it's coming his way, you can hear it, and that's an easy headshot up close. Back into a 2 versus 2, but MUTiRiS has taken forZe, and now Zorta will realise that he's going to be miles away from the play, and B, it's not where the action's going to be going down. Bomb transported over to A, and MUTiRiS is hearing everything. Zorta's giving it a glance. He's being semi-aware of it, but MUTiRiS shows himself at the right time, grabs the AWP to drop over to Story in the next. And as you say earlier, Neo, this is honestly, because it's a new map, because it's still evolving in its early stages, it's hard to say really what forZe can do to change it up.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really had too much of a time to really take a look and deep dive into Anubis and see what was the best point of call for forZe. I think in that specific case, just the inability to trade at the end, right? Just because Shelby falls early into the round and they're playing the entire round. Number 9 with a man disadvantage. It's a brutal scenario for them, and once again, it's more of the same as just things. With a lovely double to open things up. He's been pretty stellar so far, but to be perfectly honest, everybody on sAw has. No one's lagging behind. No one's hard carrying. It's a team-wide performance of excellence.
Yeah, this is of course we both commentated sAw quite a lot in the past, and I think just is often an alias that can be a bit of a tongue twister because it's a word you use so often in the sequences. Jerry, MP9, forZe 5-7, Shelfie, Deagle. Got the 5-7 in the right spot if one player walks through mid. I've very often got just a free kill waiting here with the 5-7. One shot headshot up close. Way too overpowered, in my opinion. But I'm sure that'll be true. Does hit the dink look, and it does 95 damage to MUTiRiS. Very close. Thankfully, he walks through the other door, so he doesn't get shocked by it. Immediately taken down. Nice shot from Shelfie. And the thing that is interesting here is that Shelfie's got the bomb. 24 bullets in the clip to try and hold this at bay. You can hear the players running through the mid right now. MUTiRiS is low. There's the information. Bomb's still in the action, but he can't understand exactly who's coming where first. That was a bit scary for sAw, because losing the bomb in the way they did was not necessarily planned, but they recover it quickly.
Yeah, just again, 3K to his name. I mean, this guy continues just to be stellar. It's very sublime, but actually simplistic CSGO. And this has been the story of sAw so far in this map number 1. It's simple but effective CSGO. No mistakes, no overextensions, no rookie errors. just winning their fights and making sure they play this game at a numbers advantage and always to their terms, to their tempo, the way CSGO on the T side should be dictated. It's brilliant stuff. And now, of course, the for's call for attack pause, and Jerry really needs to rally the troops because so far it's not been so great. And the for's, they are already getting to a point of seriously lagging behind. And this entire map could already be in jeopardy just from this half alone if things get out of hand the way they have been so far. If things carry on the same trajectory, for's, even though this is generally since T started, won't have that much of a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we saw yesterday that I think 10-5 halves, T halves really are not too bad at all for a CT side. And they can easily come back, but right now they have to fight for that, that's for sure. Oh, nice spam from Crad, but didn't know what hit him, and does more damage too as well, almost. It's a good position for the A1S, of course, no tracers through that. Still a big factor of the A1S, even if it does have less bullets and slightly less damage these days. Will get one of his own as well. As we mentioned earlier, forZe, of course, still technically a stand-in. They've been practicing with him and Result from VP Prodigy, to my understanding.
Yes.
So playing with the foreseeable future for now, just not confirmed signing as of yet. Roman's getting absolutely peppered. 15 points of health from that. MUTiRiS' spams are close, but not close enough. 5v3 for forZe with 50 seconds to go.
What do they do here? Numbers are looking good for sAw. In a while, we've seen them properly test as they're doubling back over towards the A site. Bomb in tow. In the hands of MUTiRiS. But that's noise being made in towards water as the smoke comes through. I know all too well about this. How does the story lead the charge here? Now, split coming through, so MUTiRiS will spot one. Not be able to find the fight just yet. Taking some damage too as he falls to the hands of Shelfie, and this one might be done, Trav.
I think so. 25 seconds, and Roman's got 15 HP in the AWP, so he can still hop away and save this. It's actually more of an important save than I expected. Sure, Stories has quintuple digits, but if forZe build up a run, they might start to become a bit broke as we get toward the final few rounds of the half. So I think keeping the AWP might just keep them afloat for these final few.
Agreed.
And it's good that forZe will win the round with 5 players alive as well, so they can continue to buy up the utility absolutely fine. Especially as there are a couple of M4A4s being chosen on that CT side. And of course, now you mentioned the end of last year for sAw. They had a pretty up and down year, right? I mean, they didn't have much huge success. But to end off the year with significant wins over Spirit twice in a BO3 and a BO5, which I believe you covered one of those.
Yes.
That is pretty insane, because you would expect Spirit to be taking that every day of the week. They beat Blue Jays 2-0 as well. I mean, that was a good way to end the year, and they're kicking it off in the same vein at the moment, it seems.
No, 100%. I think, you look towards last season, and I mean, sAw were just unstoppable at times. Their run of form was really something that was just so commendable, and it was, it was a pleasure to be part of it. I mean, I was very fortunate to get to cover the playoffs for all of EU, and seeing that this run that sAw after the upper bracket was just brilliant. Taking down big names as well, like Spirit, who, a lot of people class as basically one of the best in terms of that tier 1.5, so to say. And hey, I mean, you've got to give sAw the credit and give them their dues, right? Because they have really been putting in the work. And even against forZe as well. In season 43, they beat them 2-0. One of them being, of course, an overtime on Ancient, but even still, 2-0 over forZe is relatively commendable, and they're looking like they want more of the same just to open things up with Crad getting decimated. That's the B site open.
Yeah, this is a complete... That's wild. That is a complete change-up from sAw. And really, honestly, a really good time to do it as well. They just rushed through as 2 and split it as 3. And the smokes were late in toward what we probably will call connector. That goes in toward mid, where that smoke you can see that Roman's looking at right now. That was a lot faster, and it completely caught forZe unawares. We saw forZe had, what? I think 4 players toward the B-bomb site at one point earlier on in this half, and they still got destroyed. This time they only had 1, and it's like sAw knew it, because they pounced on that as quickly as possible. Crad going down is enough to take the round and get them at least a 9-6. Could be a lot more than that.
Oh, this rate, I mean, this could really start to get messy on the way out. But Zorto will find more of a pop shot on the way. ewjerkz falling is it's a silver lining. It's a very dark situation right now, as the lead once again extended to 6 rounds. And this breadth of a gap that sAw are building up on their C side is it's pretty commendable. I mean, they're already guaranteeing themselves a lead at the half, but with how things are panning out, there is a real possibility and probably a probability that they find themselves at double digits before we head in towards our second half and the sides flip. And I think already this is starting to look like it potentially could be enough for sAw to see off Anubis in a relatively convincing fashion, to say the absolute least. forZe need a bit of a miracle to get back into this one right now.
They can get 2 of the last 3 rounds of the half. I think they've got a chance. But I'm waiting, obviously, I have no idea what they're going to show, not necessarily on their team side, what Jerry has planned. MUTiRiS once again will best Shalfie in mid. It seems like Shalfie is the man in task of making sure mid doesn't get exposed. It's just a scary part of the map, because for a second, the team could creep in and catch you off guard at any moment. I've dealt with that one the hard way in matchmaking, I can assure you. 4 versus 4. Zorta did recover that one. He's still holding toward the back of the site on A, and the bomb is around the outskirts of it at the moment. They only got 1 Molotov left, though. It's going to have to be a pretty sick Molotov to get sAw a good entry. And this could be a way for forZe to grab their 4th. Utility does seem to be very important on Anubis at the moment when they go for these executes. Sometimes it gives the CTs no chance at all, but if you're lacking it, try. But that might have to be the way sAw get the victory. Quick trade from Crad while Roman took Jerry. Coming in. Actually hits the shot toward Crad, but forZe was there too to catch him in the back. So it's just 1 2. Kit available, but now dropped by Just. So it's all down to Zorta, and he's got the AWP on the retake. The worst possible gun for this situation. He's low, of course, Just, but that doesn't really matter. Zorta's found the kit, which is very important, but Just is refusing to swing, and Zorta, even though he's got that AUG, I think he's got no idea where Just is playing from, and Just can get every single sound cue right now. He's played it to absolute perfection, and sAw have hit double digits.
Just take a bow. I mean, there is nothing better he could have done there. What a play from him. 1 versus 2. The isolation of fights is brilliant, but I think it's more, you have to look over towards forZe and look at why those fights were isolated. Why wasn't the brakes pumped on the retake? So they're both swinging the sights at the same time, and so forZe are playing the numbers game. That's what they should have done. The fact that they give Just the ability to take a 1v1 both times there is what has cost them, and a really well played from him. Should have really been checked by Zorta, but the fact that he is overlooked is giving them that double-digit mark in the first half. Into the penultimate round, they're at 10-3. They could go into the half at 12, and at that point, that's too steep of a mountain to climb for me for forZe. Even though you can maybe make this the argument of it being T-sided, that's just asking too much.
Yeah, I would agree. It's huge from Just. Say, forZe didn't necessarily put the brakes on early enough, and I think that various situations there where there was a chance for them to wait as well. Maybe they wanted to take advantage while they had information, but I think they really could have on a bit of a thought. Close up fights for Jerry once again, but ewjerkz just rips his head off. Thankfully, Zorta is still here and putting in some great work once again. 2 kills back in response, and I think he knows that Story's coming his way. He's hit him once already from this position, but he pulls out the nade at an awful time. Of course, there are still players coming from the other direction, and now, of course, 5 bullets in the clip these days with the AWP. He's only got 2 left to kill these last 2 players. Can't afford to miss any more. 3v2 with 40 seconds. Still dancing around the A site. B site, I should say. Zorta just missed the timing on the player crossing toward the left. That could be awful. Waiting, and there you go. MUTiRiS has caught a player off guard, but thankfully forZe got one in the meantime. Pistol out. He's tagging down MUTiRiS, but he can't finish the kill. And look at this. forZe is left on 16 HP on the other side of the map. Again, sAw fighting through to a possible victory. Sure, MUTiRiS is low as well, but he's still got double the health of forZe. It's 1 bullet would be enough to remove forZe from the round, and MUTiRiS is going around the world here. That could be the way to seal it. forZe is going to have no clue. Sure, he has a defuse kit, but he's going hunting for him. Look, he's pushed past the bomb and is actually basically taking the same path that MUTiRiS has just taken. MUTiRiS can take some time, read about the history of the map, and say calm in the knowledge that he should be winning this round. You can hear forZe running away. No chance whatsoever. Doesn't even have to do a thing to win the round, and both players will go down. Oh, I say both. I really thought forZe would go down too. But MUTiRiS, he's done his job and wins another round for sAw now. This is ridiculous. They're winning every single close one.
That's huge. forZe, again, have just been their own worst enemy there, but that is really well played from MUTiRiS. I mean, he has done everything right. There is nothing you can fault sAw on right now. He has just been more or less flawless on this C side. What a performance from him. So deserved. There is sAw extend the lead once further, and this is already out of hand. 11 gained on the T side. The best forZe can hope for is a fourth. And a miss nade more or less sums up their performance thus far on this CT side. It has been dire straits for the CIS side as they are being pulled apart here by the excellence of sAw.
Yeah, this is classic sAw. Like I said earlier, we've seen them do it with Ancient, and they're doing it again with the early stages of Anubis. This is a quality T side. I would say it's honestly 65%, I would say, something like that, of sAw's excellence and not just forZe's errors. Two rounds, forZe definitely could have won. But sAw, with their own excellence, they pulled them back. forZe desperately need this fourth round. They know they'll have certainly a decent chance if they manage that. Himself from 1 kill, dancing around with 2. Well done, Jerry. That should seal the end of the half. 5, tapping away, does get the spread towards Daughter, but it doesn't matter. forZe salvage a fourth, but that is all. We'll see if they can make a comeback after a quick break. Second half underway in a matter of seconds. forZe got so close to winning some of those rounds, but Neo, a miss is as good as a mile. sAw looked great.
I'm loving what I'm seeing, Trav. I really am. There is very little you can say on a negative note over towards sAw. I think for forZe, they need a miracle. And Just has got other ideas. It's a beautiful flash from MUTiRiS that does all the hard work. And Just has a couple of taps to see it off. A double duel, he's doing double damage. It is looking messy. Or so I say, Jerry and Zorto come alive. Roman and Just combine. Leaving it back at a 2 versus 2, but the bomb is dropped.
Oh, that's a great recovery kill. Fighting through, and then in the end they double peak Just in the corner. That is a wonderful recovery, and could that be a lifeline? We mentioned that everyone at the moment says the general consensus is that this map is T-sided, and sAw not able to convert that early advantage in that pistol round as the madness descended. Hopefully it doesn't come back to bite them. If they win a force buy straight back in response, then it should be okay, but can the streak begin here? We, of course, CT sides just in general look hard, so maybe we've underestimated how much work forZe have actually put in on this map. Maybe the T-side will truly show us what they've got.
Hey, to be fair as well, you know, we saw forZe take a pistol earlier, and then, you know, went on a pretty bad run. So I'm not going to count out, you know, Justin and sAw just yet. Any messy MUTiRiS, but that's coming through, take a lot of damage. He's down to 20 points of HP, and that 5-7 maybe not as impactful anymore as it's forced to sort of slink away into the shadows.
Splash of a grenade, plopping its way into the water as they switch utility. Jerry and forZe with the double Galil. Crad and Shelfie with the Mac 10s. Utility's starting to get a little bit low, but not as low as sAw's. They've got enough flashes and enough smokes to make this through to the site pretty comfortably. Jerry showing presence toward the underpass. But it's only presence. He's looking to fall away. On site is the way to go. There are a couple of players here. This rotating in very low from that opening fight. Smoke is decent. There'll be a chance to boost above that if they've got an extra player there, but do that at the moment. I'm just trying to trying to get the information on where these players are, but Zorta does a great job at stopping it. Just coming in on the big flank, but he's just checked by Shelfie at the last moment, and somehow, don't ask me how, forZe win that round with every single player alive.
A little bit close, but hey, we will absolutely take it for forZe, especially since they've had a pretty bad run. Right now, they're more than happy just to walk away with a little bit of success and whatever they can take to start chipping away at the deficit. I mean, you know, from 11-4, a lot of people would think it's generally done, but with this map being so far very T-sided, it's not a done story. It's not, you know, confirmed that sAw are seeing this off. And a little bit of a struggle, the same way we saw for forZe, and we could really see this go maybe the full distance or even flip hands. So far, though, for sAw heading into round 18, he is just that low buy. Sticking over the 2K mark, giving them money to work in towards the next. Nonetheless, confirming sAw get a 7. The Shelfie finds the first of the Mac 10. Quick trade, though, means it limits how much money he can make.
No more Mac 10, except for Crad. Just being patient. He's got that position on the left-hand side of the entrance toward B. Some good information if a player has to cross, and of course that's what's so tough about that site. If you want to rotate, sometimes you do have to cross the mouth of that site, the entrance. MUTiRiS is going to get his bell rung, and that's going to hurt. Bomb will go down comfortably though. Realise that the site is clear. Go into it together. About to get peeked by the other P250, but the trade was always going to come in from Jerry as Roman was in the open. They're going to try and take down forZe, and they're doing a really good job of damage here, to be fair. I saw, considering Just and MUTiRiS have 34 health between them, and I can, as you can see, it's majority of that is on MUTiRiS. So they've got a free Galil. They absolutely should be saving that into the next round, because that's a good gun to have. Decent armor penetration. Don't be throwing away your Galils, guys. It's a good buy-round gun for a CT side. We'll save some extra cash too.
100%. Well, I'm more than happy to walk away with that. I mean, decent damage dealt, right? I mean, when you're thinking that they're coming in with a very minimal investment overall, the fact that they're able to walk away with a few kills under their belt, they'll be more than happy to kind of chalk that up and be like, okay, cool. Now we can start looking forward to what we've got next and what we've got coming up. At the moment, for now, we'll have to wait and see how things do pan out. Because I'm not really, I'm not as confident as I was feeling in terms of we need to see what sAw are like on their first full buy. And this is where we get a real true look in and test to see how they fare up on this map. Because it's all well and good saying they've been dominating the T side, but I think this map can be quite easy to continue the ball rolling on T side. How do they fare up when they're on the CT?
Exactly. We've seen a big comeback yesterday from Eternal Fire. I believe they were 12-5 behind and won 16-13 on this very map and on the T side. It says a lot. Just how hard it is to grind these out. Utility MUTiRiS might need that mid more than just will. I was just staying in a standard default at the moment. I'm not even picked up as of yet. Minute to go. Don't need it as of yet. Showing some presence now. You can see the shifting around the map. Jerry in the canals alongside Zorta. And now we recovered with 50 seconds to go. Where's this Molotov going?
It's quiet, isn't it? Very quiet. That just blocks all that double doors rotation coming through. What does Shalfie do to see the charge swinging in? Jerry will fall. There's the numbers of odds in favor of sAw. First full buy. We need to see success from them. That's not a bad start at all.
Doable. Peek through the smoke from MUTiRiS. Oh, that was risky, but Shalfie gets absolutely destroyed. And while Roman is on 1 HP, it might not matter. forZe don't have any control of any site. I think they're going to have to give this one up. You can see they're moving away now. Just maybe might decide to go for a peek with the kill because, of course, he saved that gun. It's worth a risk to maybe take down one of these players. They don't survive with 3 alive, but they're going to have to give it up, and that's fine. 5 alive for sAw is excellent. 3 alive for forZe isn't the end of the world because they still can afford to buy in the next. forZe can drop 1, and if they really want to, they can drop another 2, but Jerry has some residual cash, so he'll be fine. That's a really good start for sAw.
I was waiting to see where that happens, right? A pause comes forward because that is a real big tell that sAw are very capable when it comes towards their CT as well, which makes things even more scary. You're looking over towards forZe and you're thinking, okay, cool, they're starting to clamber back into this game. They're starting to just chip away slowly, but surely at that deficit off the back of the pistol, the force by 2 and against the ecos, doing everything right, but when the first full buy, the first true test for forZe on their T side comes, and we see sAw with a full investment on how they deal with it, they look great. And that's the thing that does really kind of show a little bit of a worry over towards forZe, and probably hence why Jerry's called for that attack there, right? He needs to have a conversation about how they're able to pull apart this side because it's going to be, well, very, very difficult, to say the least. Now we're back to that 5-round buffer and a lot of breathing room for sAw to work with, and a really good opportunity too for them to have some significant damage over towards that C side. Win this round, and they're going to really damage that C side economy. Won't quite break it, so to say, and especially if they get a bomb plant, but they're going to make things quite awkward into the next few if they're able to win this one here.
Yeah, this is a big round. Overpass coming up next, of course, guys. Have to remember that forZe had a very nice performance on Overpass yesterday. I think that put them up to a 5th in a row on that map. So, keep that up. They do fall to the wayside against sAw on Anubis. It'll be their only way back in. There is a lower bracket there, of course. Got to remember, this is just the first opportunity for both of these two teams to make it to the group stage and have a trip to Malta. Still be a lifeline, but you want to get it done as soon as possible, don't you? Feel that pressure. MUTiRiS close mid doors, does get the kill towards Jerry. It's still very dust-like in the position. He avoids the flash and still takes Shalfie. What a hold for MUTiRiS. All the years of experience that he's got. Just destroying the round of forZe here. forZe and Zorta last alive.
Paying off. What an angle as well from Roman there. Bit of a head glitch. Maybe want to take into your pugs yourself, ladies and gents. As forZe will fall, and it's Zorta and the AWP all alone. And what does he do with this big green? Save should be the right call. Park up. Hope and pray that no one walks in his direction. Because if that AWP falls, they have no chance of picking one up in towards the next. It's a bit of a necessity, in fact. for him to keep it ticking over, but he continues to walk his way forward. Be careful, Sunshine. There are 10 seconds left. Thankfully, he will just get out of dodge as the shark started to swim in his direction. So thankfully, we will see that open play for forZe. Around it, though, as I was kind of alluding to prior to this round, the buy might not be as comfortable. Look what we got, an AWP in hands, and then, well, 2 and 3K for the rest of forZe. If they want to go for a forced buy, it's not exactly even going to be a comfortable one at that. sAw on the road to victory in map number 1 here, and the red carpet is starting to be rolled out for them. They will force, though. shalfie into the AK. Khalil picked up by Krad. Mac 10 for Jerry, and forZe rounded it all off with just the Tech 9 to his name. It's a janky force buy, but they're going to try and make it work.
Oh, well. That's not going to help your start, is it? Jerry didn't really do much wrong there necessarily, but the combination grenade and the spray just makes that impossible to deal with. ewjerkz gets the free opener. I think, honestly, I really feel like everyone on Story's been a little bit quiet, but everyone's really been putting in the work. Just as I say his name, he gets himself a kill.
There we go.
Behind the smoke, just. Crowd having to pick up the AWP as it's been lost. I think he may see the edge of Story there. It's hard to say whether he really sees it or not there. He's got the crosshair in the right space, but wanted to pull the trigger. shalfie once again. It's really been shalfie versus MUTiRiS toward mid, hasn't it? And MUTiRiS, I've got to say, fair play to him. He's won that duel more often than not. shalfie is one of the stars of forZe, and he's being silenced by the legend of sAw. Just on the line, sees Krad, takes Krad, and last alive. He goes super aggressive for the last, will get punished for it. But now they know exactly where forZe is. And ewjerkz is just going to continue to hide in the underpass. Listen for the footsteps if he does come toward B. No need to swing it immediately. Wait for ewjerkz and Roman to team up together. forZe clearing out absolutely everything, just not the place where ewjerkz is residing. He will plant safe, but he's about to be converged upon. There's the first bit of information, but he's going to be back exposed to the long area. ewjerkz just hiding, and there we go. Perfect teamwork, perfect communication. sAw reach 14, double the score of forZe.
It should be done now. I can't see a world, really, in which forZe are able to get back into this game. I mean, a bomb plant gives them some, you know, security in a sense, in terms of if they wanted to full buy into this, they could. It still would be a similar story that what we saw in towards round number 21, where it would be very janky, and I don't really think it's worth it. And actually, they're going to make the smart call here. Going to go for that lower buy, pick up some pistols, bit of armor, bit of utility. And the priority here is just guaranteeing, once again, yet another bomb plant. Bomb plant gives them a wealth of money to work with in towards the next. But to be perfectly honest with you, Trav, I think this story's done. I think it's all she wrote, and it's sadly too little, too late for forZe.
Quite possibly. Turk going super aggressive. Can he finally catch a kill? Oh, MUTiRiS, you lucky little rascal. He's got away with that one. 15 HP to spare as well. Trying to go super fast, and they continue to just go barreling through smokes. But now Story is here. And MUTiRiS does get his one kill in the end, despite getting away with that opening fight. And Jerry is last alive. Does find Roman, but the bomb is dropped behind the smoke as well. As he looks, of course. Story's got that in his sight line. And now it's being covered. He can go back and check the other portions of the map. Jerry needs a miracle to take this round for his team. Oh, well, okay. That's one for players to maybe realise. We saw that yesterday with Xantares playing that very position. If a T has walked in, and you're still sat there, gun barrel can be seen. And they cannot see you. So, that's a little tip for players. If you're playing this map, don't get caught behind there. Make sure you wait for teammate help, or at least something like that. Maybe a flash. Otherwise, you'll just get pre-fired. It's an easy spot. Gives Jerry a slight chance. The Story has missed his shot, but MUTiRiS was already coming in from the back. No problemo. Good damage from Jerry on a round such as that, but damage is not what they need right now. They need rounds, and they don't have enough, do they?
They don't. They really don't. I mean, this is sadly, it just feels like all she wrote. It feels like the story is dead in the water. It's done, and we're just going to be looking forward towards Overpass momentarily because this has been a stellar showing from sAw. Like we were saying earlier, there's very little you can fault sAw on. There's been the few hiccups here and there on the pistols and, you know, the half buys, the ecos, but when it comes to the full gun rounds, full buys both sides, it's only going one way, and that is the way of sAw. It's been brilliant, and speaking of, ewjerkz continues to impress. Jerry to fall as the IGL is, unfortunately, had to sit down in the wings and watch from afar. Already, numbers advantage for the Portuguese side as they are one round away from taking their map pick. And a best of 3 to confirm who goes to Pro League, and Story will step up with one of his own. The two boys transferred from FDW who qualified to Pro League last time out.
Yeah.
Are already setting the story here.
Nice part.
Thanks, man.
Story will continue that timeline. Burnt Forest are out of the round. We know one likes burnt forests, but unfortunately, we're going to have one there. Shelfie, last alive, 1 versus 4. Saw masterclass of a new map. We saw it with Ancient in the early stages of ECL. When Ancient was introduced, we saw it with Vertigo even back maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago at this point as well. They were great to begin on that map too, and they look great on Anubis as well. A fantastic performance on this brand new map in the pool again from the legends on sAw. So much experience, and they really used that to their absolute, they used that to perfection, didn't they? Against forZe. They look a bit lost.
I got to say, I mean, forZe really never got into that game, to be perfectly honest. It was a very one-sided from start to finish. It was kind of a story of sAw dominantly displaying how good you can really play this map.